Gotcha, hyena. Folks, while we're waiting on this Trump press conference, I thought I could talk to you about something near and dear to my heart, okay? It's men! Because I like men, because I'm pansexual. No, it's International Men's Day, people. Men's Day? Yeah, International Men's Day. How nice is that? And I thought it might be nice to talk for a moment about men while we wait on Donald Trump. Some may call him the prime man, presently. Many people call him this. Many people say this. I thought it might be nice for us to talk about men. Because, folks, I don't think men are doing too hot right now. I think, you know what? I'm going to say it, okay? You know what's annoying? What's annoying is when you're talking about women's issues and somebody comes in and they say men got it bad too. Isn't that annoying? It's annoying. So let's not do it today. I want to talk about men's issues. And we don't give a fuck about women right now, okay? Not a single shit. We're just going to charge on ahead with men's issues. Contra talked about this. Wow, Contra made a video about this sometime in the past 2 years. Guess nobody can talk about the entire gender men again. Fuck you. Listen up. Men have, I think, a really, really, really difficult time of it right now. Folks, hypers in chat if you're a man and you feel lost and it's kind of like you don't know what to do with your masculinity. Give it a shot. The main issue is, I feel like there are a lot of... We've given women, by we I don't mean men, I mean like societally, women have ways they can express themselves, I think, that are a lot more freeing than what men can do. Let's take, for example, clothing, okay? Women, when it comes to clothing, women can wear basically literally everything. It's socially accepted in America, in most parts of America, for women to wear pretty much any article of clothing. I'm mostly talking about cis people here, but this also applies to trans people to a large extent. Women can wear, you know, a t-shirt and jeans or a suit, and they look great. And they can wear a dress, and they look great. And yeah, you know? But with men, there's like way stricter expectations for behavior and performance. And a lot of these really like hurt men. So I want to talk about that. Like, say, for example, being able to cry. Okay? Now, regardless of how you feel about crying in public or whatever, you know, regardless of what propensity you have for crying, and a lot of guys just don't cry that much, whatever. I don't cry very much at all. But if you want to cry, and it's a biological process that's ingrained into our psyche, so this isn't like some weird social thing. Humans cry. It's a thing we do. But if you want to cry, if you're a lady, you can get away with that pretty much no matter what. I mean, some people will give you shit, no denying it, but with men, like, there can be severe social consequences, like really, really severe social consequences for crying sometimes. And that sucks, you know? Like, I'm not saying everyone should be bawling their eyes out in public or whatever, like, keep it the fuck together, you know? But, like, if you're watching a movie and you want to cry, what are movies for? Some movies make you want to cry. Some guys get, like, ashamed of that. That's the fucking point of the movie. What do you like, I feel like a lot of guys watch sad movies, and it's like an internal test they have to force themselves to not cry in a movie designed to make you cry or at least make you sad. You know what I mean? Like, they're testing themselves. Like, they treat those movies like dipping your hand into a bucket full of crabs and trying not to, like, pull it out as they get your little hands. You know what I mean? Like, it's like a test. You know what I mean? Which is really, really, really dumb. And I think... And this goes like in a million different ways too, and there are more institutional problems as well. Bosh, you talking from personal experience here? I don't watch movies that much. I think I cried a couple of times after watching End of Evangelion. It's a good movie. I mean, that's a movie, I guess. But anyway, it's an anime movie. But anyway, it's a good movie. Yeah, it's a good movie. Yeah. Anyway, there are more institutional elements here as well. Like, for example, with a guy, it feels like, and this isn't as much the case in us progressive type circles, but in a lot of America, like, you'll get called a fag, like, at the drop of a hat through any expression of emotional sincerity. And it's really, really, really easy to have your masculinity questioned for doing things humans just do Not just crying either, but like a lot of things. Like, and it boils down to a lot of institutional biases as well, like family courts, for example. Now, family courts these days aren't as biased as they used to be. They're actually a lot more even now. But historically, children were awarded more to women in a breakup because it was expected that women are better child rearers. And while the courts are evening out a little bit, are there any dads in chat? Do you ever notice if you take your kid to the park, people look at you kind of funny because you're an adult man with a little kid, especially if it's a daughter. But if a mom brings her kids to the park on her own, nobody bats an eye at all. That's a totally normal, completely ordinary thing. I've known dads or single dads who've gotten called like the cops on them because the caller assumed they were a predator. They were there with their fucking daughter. Like, that's really fucking weird, you know? Like, Jesus. And that boils down to the belief that men can't be good parents. So, like, if there's a guy around a kid, it must be some weird shit rather than, like, a dad-kid thing, you know? And schools. You know, there's a conservative talking point that, like, men aren't privileged because they don't do as good in schools. And there's kind of a half-truth to that. Not that they aren't privileged, they are, but there is a half-truth to the sincerity of school bias, because when you think about it, why do men tend to do worse in school? And they do. Boys do worse in school in America. Pretty much across the board these days. More women go to college. Why? Well, one of the big reasons is that school rewards a very specific type of behavior. Diligence and quiet and memorization. But a lot of men are taught that in order to be, like, masculine, you have to be boisterous, aggressive, domineering, and antagonistic. So we set guys up to fail because all these kids are being taught they're going to be little war generals, you know, and then they go to school and the system doesn't reward. The world, by the way, doesn't reward hyper domineering, aggressive behavior unless we're talking about the sociopathic, like, business class, you know? For the most part, the world rewards collaborative, cooperative behavior. These are usually the people who do better in life. Now, that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with schools. There is something very wrong with schools, but it might indicate that the relationship we have between how we teach people to behave and how they end up needing to behave in society is really fucked, you know? And I feel bad for the guys in this position because, again, like, with being a lady, I feel like you can do a lot. Now, again, I'm not saying women have it all easy, whatever, at all. But you can do a lot with regards to expression if you're a lady, and it's at least somewhat socially normalized in some spaces. You know what I mean? Mask or femme or domineering or submissive. There's usually, it's always preferred women are feminine in most social spaces. But then sometimes women get respected, even if it's in like a weird fetishy way, if they're more domineering or aggressive, and then they get considered one of the guys, and that's not like that good. But if they're more androgynous or like on the line, like there's some degree of acceptance here, I think. But if you're feminine as a guy, unless you're full fucking femboy, like legit people can't tell like how you identify, you can get like a lot of shit. I don't know, women get a lot of shit for being assertive. Didn't I literally open this segment by saying we're not going to talk about women and women's problems? Holy shit, there are so many people in chat being like, I don't know about this one, chief. Women have problems too. Shut the fuck up. We know. Every leftist space is perpetually dedicated to talking about issues of the patriarchy. Can we please chill and talk about the other half of the issues of the patriarchy? Okay. By the way, yeah, women do get shit talked for being domineering. Like if you're like a domineering woman in like a workplace, you do get shit for that. Show up in a dress as a man to a workplace, okay? You're gonna get fired in a lot of places. There's a really big, the severity of this dichotomy really varies depending on the social space. And I think that's because a lot of people, especially progressive guys, don't really know how to reconcile socially normalized good behavior with masculinity. Because masculinity, like traditional masculinity, is like lizard brain shit. You know what I mean? Like, you must be strong to conquer the society. You need to show no emotion. Like that shit. You know what I mean? It's like lizard brain shit. And there are elements of masculinity that I like, but there's the problem is that some people take this machismo shit way the fuck too far, or machismo, whatever, and it's like impossible to talk to these people. I said this before on stream, but like, you guys know, like in high school, there are some guys and they're really obsessed with being men. These motherfuckers are like suicide cases the moment they leave college, okay? People who define themselves by being hyper masculine, we don't live out in the fucking wilderness, okay? You're not gonna make it in life by like fighting bears. You make it in life by dealing with the banal reality of late stage capitalism, and you form the only way to survive late stage capitalism is to either get very lucky and be very wealthy and powerful, or to be socially competent enough to form relationships that make life worth living. That's it, okay? Those are like the two shots. If you have like some hyper specific talent or like a hobby or something like that, you can pursue that, but by God, you need relationships to temper yourself out, because we're social creatures. And a lot of guys don't learn that, and they don't end up becoming super powerful, wealthy dudes so they can live on with their machismo fantasies for the rest of their lives. So they just fucking live in misery, okay? So how do you reconcile that? What about, like, sex, you know? Like, for a progressive dude. Okay, here's a common trope, all right? Here's a common trope. Who here has fucked a guy who you wish was more aggressive, but who was clearly holding back because he didn't want to come off rapey? I don't mean like with sexually like aggressive behavior in like the flirting stage. I mean during sex. Like during sex, they felt awkward because they were clearly, you know, being like temperamental with it. Some of you have. That's the thing a lot of guys have experienced too. They don't really know. I don't mean like choke. I mean, I guess a lot of people are into choking these days, but I don't just mean like choking. My ex said that about me. Well, there you go, you know? There's like this really weird push and pull, but isn't life suffering? Well, life is suffering, true. There's this really weird push and pull between like different social expectations that guys are presented, and I feel like a lot of guys don't really have a compelling narrative forward, and a lot of this comes to their inability to make friendships. Like, guys don't really make friendships the way I think it's healthy to make friendships. In fact, it's so denormalized for guys to have healthy friendships, they will make fun of women for making healthy friendships. It's literally a joke in a lot of like normie circles amongst men to make fun of women for being sociable and friendly and conciliatory to each other. You know? Like that's a real thing. I think that might be one of the reasons why abusive guys tend to isolate their partners really, really, really aggressively. It's because they know their only friend is going to be their girlfriend, so they don't want their girlfriend to have anything other than him. You know what I mean? But Vosh, at the same time, there's the stereotype that men friendship is way more genuine and stuff. Dude, that's cope. The lie that male friendships are more genuine is such fucking cope, dude. I'm sorry, having Discord friends that you play League of Legends with 3 times a week is not inherently more fucking legitimate than the relationships girls make, okay? I've seen the type of guys who make these jokes that male friendships are more like sincere, and I've seen what friend circles they have. It's fucking cope, dude. They imagine that all girl friendships are them all going out to the bar and doing their nails and lying to each other and then sleeping with guys behind each other's backs. In reality, women, being people, have a normal range of friendships, but I feel like the whole, I may never leave my house, but at least my friendships are authentic shit is the exact same sort of thing that a, like, fedora-wearing milady type would say about his sexual conquests, you know? I may not be sleeping around all the time, but at least I'm saving myself for a pure maiden. Like, that's what it feels like to me. It feels like cope shit, you know? So what they see on TV, well, yeah, of course. That's one of the big issues. Nobody does, like, real friendships anymore. Like, honest, real, honest-to-God friendships. Nobody does that shit anymore. That's men and women, by the way, or, like, everyone, you know? Most people's friendships are, like, highly, highly transactional. And I do this to an extent, too, so I'm not saying, like, I'm immune to this or anything like that. I don't mean just with COVID. I mean before COVID as well. But, like, a lot of people have a really difficult time, I think, opening up to form the kind of friendships that are really rewarding, because you have to be vulnerable to make those friendships truly rewarding, and men are taught not to do that, so it can be especially difficult for them to reach that point, you know? Hold on. Me and my buddy have been friends for over 20 years. Fuck out of here with that shit. Damn, dude. When I said people have trouble forming real relationships anymore, I was totally directly impugning you. I'm glad you cleared that up and fucking reminded everyone watching right now that you, and you specifically, repute the absolute certainty with which I was speaking. Jesus Christ. It's a fact, by the way, that people are having fewer and fewer friends these days. You can actually look. All the numbers are tracking up. Or worse, I guess. Average number of friends for a person in college, lower than it used to be. Age at which people lose their virginity, higher than it used to be, you know? People die with fewer friends than they used to. Like, it's just getting worse across the board. But if we want to solve that, and we should, because friendship's cool, you know, we should probably do a better job of being, like, open to the people around us. And that requires a breadth of emotional, like, honesty that I think a lot of guys are just taught not to do. And a lot of this feels like faggy shit, you know, like, if only guys could be more gay, they could. But I don't mean that. I just mean, like, it's like, how do I put it? I can say faggy shit, I fuck men. It's, how do I put it exactly? I'm trying to think of, like, a really apt comparison here. Moaning during sex. Oh yeah, there's one, by the way. If you're a guy and you're uncomfortable to moan during sex, your partner's missing out for it, okay? I have never been with somebody who didn't like it when men moan during sex, okay? But so few men actually moan during sex. But I've never fucked a person who was like, oh god, please don't moan. That shit's so weird and off-putting. You know the difference, even with my femme college friends, they were more willing to do affectionate things to us, like playing with or braiding hair. Oh yeah, that's true. There's also a greater degree of comfort with physical intimacy. It used to be more like that between men as well, but socially now everything thinks that's gay or whatever. But that's true, yeah. Whenever I had, like, feminine friends in college or whatever, they would be, like, drunk at a party and they'd be willing to braid my hair or whatever. And these would be, like, not, like, close friends. These would just be people I kind of know, but guys I kind of knew would more be like, huh, bro, see the latest League patch? I don't know. There was, like, a very, very, very different energy. Hetero men are actually less open-minded about sex than women? Yeah, no shit. Dude, hetero men are terrified of sex. Like, at least more so, I think, than they would be otherwise. Generally speaking, the more you deviate from homogeneous, like, social standards, the more likely you are to be comfortable with sex. Being feminist, or being queer, or being trans, or whatever the fuck, makes you more likely to be better at sex, because you're less comfortable in, like, the very strict set of social expectations. But yeah, it's just a thing. Whatever the case may be, like, the point is, I think that if you're a guy, you should be able to be whatever you want to be, as long as you're not hurting other people, obviously, for, like, fairly obvious reasons. But I think that a lot of guys are taught things that hurt them, and the problem is the term to describe those things is toxic masculinity, but most people shut their fucking brains off, like, the nanosecond they hear that, you know? But I don't know, dude. It's like, it's really true. Look, I don't care about toxic masculinity to save the feelings of poor women, okay? I care about toxic masculinity because guys kill themselves at fucking higher rates, fucking depression, no friends, sad. And I feel like a lot of it could be addressed with I don't know, not doing those things. That's because they have guns, and toxic masculinity is the reason why men default to more lethal suicide methods. Can we come up with a new word for it? I don't fucking know, dude. Yeah, that's true. Dude, like, if you're I'm playing off stereotypes a little bit here, but the data backs it up. Like, if you're a woman and you attempt suicide, there's usually, like, it's a less lethal method, and there's more likelihood that you get stopped in the act, or you get taken to a hospital room. But with guys, like, guns, bam, you're done. You can't really interrupt that too well. Yeah, the problem with the term toxic masculinity is that it's fundamentally academic, which means that even though the concept it describes is completely valid and legitimate, and why the fuck has my camera been migrating the entire time I've been speaking? Can we chill over here? Thank you. Like, the concept it describes It's totally legitimate. The issue is that it just sounds like men bad. We should call it over macho-ness. Well, machismo is also a term, that's used. Yeah, it's a marketing issue fundamentally. But like, here, chat, I'm asking you, okay? There are a lot of guys watching. What do you want? What do you want? Where is the antagonism between you and society? I want to be happy. Okay, come on. Let's a little more specific here. Love. Okay, wait. I'm sorry. What I meant was, in what ways, this is my fault for bad phrasing, in what ways is society preventing you from feeling comfortable doing things you want to do? You know what I mean? I want friendly friends. That's good. A lot of guy friends are super standoffish with one another because they're constantly performatively indicating that they don't have any affection for one another. That shit's really cringe, by the way. If you have a guy for any friend, but if you have a guy friend, it's mostly guy friends who do this, who are constantly jokingly insulting you because they want to make sure you know they don't like really care or whatever. Like, I think that's like really lazy posturing personally. Workplace grooming standards? You mean like showering? I'm not entirely sure what that means. Want to be able to express my emotions as easily as girls. You know what I want? I want to live in a goddamn anime, okay? Here's the real problem. In anime, people can do whatever the fuck they want and be cool about it, okay? Have you all seen JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? Or read the manga? Even better, okay? In JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, okay? You're a guy, you can do whatever the fuck you want, okay? If you want to be some hulking Titanic muscle god wearing like a brick shithouse for pauldrons, you can be that, okay? And if you want to be some skinny, effete, femboy doctor who uses a serum to kill people to extract their stando power, you can do that too, okay? All of this is at your fingertips, okay? But all we do in the world right now is I think largely we make fun of guys who step out of the binary, or make fun of guys who step out of like the little block that they're sort of taught to live within. You know what I mean? If a guy dresses super flamboyant or whatever, people kind of make fun of him for it. I don't even just mean wearing a dress. I mean like if a guy dresses like a fashionista. When the fuck did dressing like a fashionista stop being cool? I think it's cool. There are guys who think the height of fashion is wearing a suit and a tie. I'm gonna kill myself, by the way. Dude, men's fashion is so fucking boring. You have your t-shirts, your jeans. Dude, I just went to male fashion advice. I'm ready to bust out the real fit, okay? Time for me to wear slightly better fitting jeans, a dress shirt, and a sweater over it. They're not gonna even see me. They can't even be ready for what's coming. Dude, it's so fucking boring. Want to look good for a date? Time to bust out the same suit you've been wearing since 2014 because your body shape still accommodates it. Oh, God, it's so fucking boring, dude. Women's fashion, you can do lots of crazy shit. You want fancy flowing dresses or whatever. That's great. Is this caused by alienation from capitalism? No, actually. This has nothing to do with capitalism. Because if this was truly capitalistic, if this was a social force truly driven by capitalism, men would have way more variance in their clothing choices. For like, it would be more profitable to the clothing industry if men weren't normalized for just wearing a t-shirt and that's it every day. They would want us dressing in a bunch of fancy-pantsy. No, this is an element of identity politics that intersects at some points with class, like for streetwear and hyperconsumerism, yeah. But at most points, I think it's largely a social issue. Vosh, I hate feeling like I can't talk with girls. I know it's like overplayed or whatever, but you have to treat them like people. I really mean that. Like, don't think of them like girls. Here's the thing. When a guy talks to a guy, they never, ever think, I'm talking to a guy. They never do that. They never, ever, ever do that, okay? But when a guy talks to a girl, they think, I'm talking to a girl. And like, even if they're not intentionally doing anything, there are different mechanisms in their brain that are firing because they're considering them different. Even if you think of women as people, I'm not saying you're sexist or whatever, but there's a different set of things, okay? Women don't do that. When women are talking to a woman, for the most part, they think, I'm talking to this person. And when a woman talks to a man, they're thinking, I'm talking to this person. Women don't do this really weird binary split thing. Some do, but not as often. Not even close to as often, I don't think. You sure? No. I guarantee you, at least to a lesser extent, women don't do that as much. The main reason for that is because guys are just taught that girls are like a different type of thing. They're like a whole different type of thing, you know? And you can unlearn that later. I was taught that. Nobody told me women are like a different type of person than men. I was never told that, but you learn it based on media, you know? When you're watching anime or TV or whatever, everyone else behaves kind of differently and weirdly with girls. And, you know, in video games, the guys dress pragmatically, the girls dress like in a more showboaty way that shows off ass and titties, or at least is more fashionable. And you think, okay, there's some difference here. And then you meet a girl in real life and you know in your head, you're like, okay, they're a person, they're just a person. But internally, you're still thinking like, okay, but they're like a woman person though. Yeah. Also, a lot of men are just taught that every interaction with women should be like a seduction effort as well. And by the way, if you're horny, listen, this is a point of personal privilege, okay? One of the reasons that I was able to move away from this is because I'm attracted to men and women. And for that reason, once I realized I was attracted to men, and I thought when I was looking at a guy, similar things to the way I felt when I was looking at a girl, I realized how weird it actually was. So like, when I was attracted to a woman back when I was 13, I didn't realize I liked men at the time. And I was thinking like, okay, guys are guys and girls are girls. These girls are hot, you know, bro, titties, big titty, booba, big booba. But then like, I'm 16 or 17 and I meet guys who I think are hot. And I'm looking at them and I'm thinking, wait, hold on, they're talking to me. Wait, hold on. Wait, did I just miss something? Well, I was thinking about dick. What was I missed something. Hold on. And I realized how weird my behavior was. You know what I mean? But not everyone's pan or bi or whatever. So that's like a process of personal. We'll get to the Biden thing shortly, okay? We can just rewind 5-10 minutes. That's fine. We can do that. I'm a girl and I have trouble talking to girls because I have that thing in my brain. Well, yeah, I think that people generally struggle a little bit talking to people that they're attracted to, but there are good and bad ways to do that, okay? If you're just kind of like if you're just kind of like awkward around people you're attracted to, that's that's pretty normal, I think, at least a little bit. But there's a difference between that and it being this like categorical inability to converse normally with women, you know? But it's okay to be a little awkward around people you're attracted to. Any strong opinion on ritualistic circumcision? Not a fan of it at all. What if you're pan and you can't talk to anyone? Then you just got to learn to talk to everyone. Here's the secret. It's not sexist if you're weird to men and women. That's what I'm talking about, baby. It also contributes that when you're younger, if you even look at a girl, all the adults assume that she's your girlfriend. Yeah, people do a lot of really weird shit. You know how people will say that like it's child abuse to impose sex or gender on a kid, but then they're like 4-year-old son will be at the playground talking to like a 4-year-old girl and he'll walk back to you and you'll be like, is that your girlfriend? I've seen a lot of people do that. That's really fucking weird, dude. Dude, don't ship people IRL, especially not when they're fucking 4 years old. That's really fucking weird, okay? Listen, you can put your kid in like a onesie with the Chad on it, but only if it's a girl, okay? Because then you're breaking gender norms. No, can you imagine you have like twins and you put one of them in a virgin onesie and one of them in a Chad onesie? That's not good. Don't do that. But yeah. Say men and women can be friends. Of course men and women can be friends. Listen. So I think that a lot of this fundamentally comes down to like men being taught to handle their sexual impulses really immaturely or poorly. I don't know. You know how like some guys, and this is in media, this is the thing too. Some guys are like super aggressively sexual and they just can't control themselves. This gets fetishized in like women's erotic literature. I think it's like really pathetic. Or guys who lose their shit when they lose a video game, like they lose a round of League of Legends and they pound the keyboard or something like that. That shit makes me cringe so fucking hard. I don't know, dude. Maybe this is just, I know that a lot of people fetishize like animalistic bestial sex or whatever, but like, I don't mean rape. I just mean like aggressive. Let's not rape. I mean like aggressive sex. Though rape does get fetishized to hell in women's erotic literature too. But like I think that when people act like this, it's really fucking pathetic, okay? We're not fucking werewolves, okay? We don't have gigantic knotted penises that we can use to fertilize millions of human women every night on the full moon, okay? We have regular human penises. At least I do. I don't know about all you. That's what I have. You speak for yourself. But Anyway, yeah, that shit's just really weird. There are a lot of guys who are like that. We all know the Rager, right? A lot of streamers are like that too. It just makes me feel really weird. Like, why? It's a bad attitude for improving at things too, you know? When you freak out when you lose, you're not going to get better. It does not contribute to getting better. Who was the worst Rager back in the StarCraft 2 days? Was it Idra? I remember back when didn't he like quit a game one time because of a mass illusioned army or something like that? The raging shit, it's not good, okay? It doesn't help you improve. No, Destiny was not the worst Rager in StarCraft 2. Not even fucking close. Yeah, anger makes you stupid. You know, you gotta be chill. You gotta be real chill. I know I bring this up a lot, but I try to relate it back to like drawing and stuff like that. There are people who have been drawing for a really long time and they don't get that much better because the attitude with which they approach doesn't facilitate like self-improvement. That can actually work in pretty much any facet of life. You know what I mean? Anytime you want to improve in any aspect, beating yourself up over shit really does not help, like, at all. Like, not even slightly, it doesn't help you. Beating yourself, people talk about this, like, especially insecure people, you know? How I gotta be aware of my faults in order for me to improve. First of all, awareness is not beating yourself up. A lot of guys do this too, and I don't think this is a male-specific thing, but I want to talk about anything. International Men's Day, you have to chill in that stuff, okay? A lot of guys, a lot of people, but a lot of guys, you know, is like, if they fuck up on something, and everyone fucks up, you know, everyone fucks up, they get really angry and really embittered, and they don't have people to turn to because they don't want to expose those vulnerabilities to other people, you know? For whatever propensity this has along a gendered line, with a lot of women, if they feel they fuck up on something, they do have close personal friends they can turn to. But I've had a lot of guy friends who just, it feels like they have nobody to talk to, you know? Except for their partners. And that's, you know, the old meme? When a guy and a girl break up, the guy's happy on day one because he's finally free of that nag, but then 1 month in, he's depressed. The woman's devastated day one, but 1 month out and she's going back and partying. You know why that meme is a meme? And it's a real thing, by the way. And do you know why? It's because that woman had other friendships and the guy didn't. She had a support system and he didn't. That meme is a real fucking thing. It's a real thing. It's happened to me before. Yeah, men only befriend their girlfriend's friends. True. And I'm speaking from personal experience here. I don't make IRL friends. I mean, nowadays I have such a large online presence that I have like a different whole relationship. Please look at male sexual assault. The definition of rape often misleads stats. Oh yeah, men get raped by women. Yeah, undeniably. New data challenges old. I think I've seen this exact study. I think I've cited this exact study. There are usually differences in how the rape takes place that are worthwhile, but that difference doesn't take away the fact that men are very often victims of rape in a way that isn't really dealt with socially, because men who are raped by women are socially discouraged from ever speaking up about it. You know what I mean? I don't want to listen. There's like a whole soliloquy that we could get into about like social expectations around rape and sexual assault, but that's like a whole other thing, and it's 20 minutes minimum, and it's all going to be very negative. And we'll get to the Trump thing shortly, okay? Chill the fuck out. Holy shit, Mason Bartholomew. I don't know if I'll be able to get that today, but thank you so much. I will get that soon. Thank you very much. Yeah, anyway, that's a whole goddamn thing. That's a whole fucking thing. But I'm sorry. The point that I am laboriously trying to get to here is that I think men would be better off if they learned how to make friendships a little bit better, and if they drop the really weird isolationist hyper-individualism bullshit, okay? Have you ever watched an anime? Okay? Friendship is magic. Well, that's not an anime, that's the show. But that's also the lesson of all anime, okay? And personally, oh god, can I relate this to one other thing? I'm sorry, this is so fucking random. XD, banana, whatever. I'm rambling, but can I relate this to one other thing? I'm gonna finish on this, okay? I think we need stories to help us live up to our best. This is why I like art media. We need stories and examples to help us live our best lives, okay? Even today, as an adult who has a career and money, I still feel like I need guidance from the wisdom of real and fictional people who've lived their lives, real or fictional, in ways that I find admirable. A good example I hear a lot of people talk about is Uncle Iroh from Avatar, The Last Airbender. Because a lot of people seen Avatar, The Last Airbender, so it's a common one. And he's just like, for those of you who haven't seen, he's like this unfathomably kind, wise old guy. And that's not like a new trope. Wise old guy is like a super old trope. Iroh might be one of the best iterants of those ever done. And of course, Iroh's not a real guy. He's a fictional character voiced by a real guy who then died and was then voiced again by another real guy. And he was drawn. But people have been telling themselves stories about how to behave since day one. Mythology, I mean, that's way back from the beginning. And this is a kind of mythology. You know what a great modern example of positive masculinity is, in my opinion? Zagreus from Hades. For those of you who haven't played it, Zagreus is the main character in a recent and famous, or very, very popular, roguelike. But the character, Zagreus, is really, really, well, he's masculine. He's like this half-naked, muscular guy who fights and loves fighting. But he's also exceptionally kind and interested in making friends. And that's great, I think. Oh God, hold on. Sorry, this is such a tangent. I apologize, but Zagreus lines. Just give me one scene of him talking to another person, and I think you will completely understand where I'm coming from. Come
here. To most the under.
Beautiful.
It's got to be.
Come then.
All right, come on. Give me a section where he's talking.
Shade to your immediate left there, father.
Nope, he has a bad relationship with his father. That's not a good example of him being kind. Here we go.
This taking in the side. Why, good to see you, Charon, mate. Just minding my own business, taking in the sights, and sure is awfully convenient to be running into you like this. I had all this coin I wanted to get rid of.
It's hard for me to describe offhandedly, but in spite of generally being very masculine, he has this very sort of deliberate friendliness with which he speaks to others. And in spite of him being like, yeah, to me, this is like an example of an alpha male, kind of, if that term is to be useful. It's not some like weird isolationist loner dipshit. It's like a very, very personable, sociable individual who can relate to others. Don't forget, by the way, that in the original Virgin versus Chad memes, Chad was very social and very kind to the people around him. Remember? Nowadays, Virgin is just a bad person and Chad is good person. But originally, one of the characteristics of Chad was being attentive and kind to all of his friends, sexually accomplished, but views all the people that he has sex with as people. The original Chad was, well, more holistically a good person. The archetype. Yeah, a himbo, kind of. And himbos are good things to be, you know, because they're nice people. That's an actual comic? No, like the original memes about it. How about Steven Universe? Steven is, like, definitely friendly. There are elements of Steven Universe and of both the character in the show that would make me uncomfortable describing him as, like, I don't know if you mean, like, as a chat. I think there are enviable characteristics there. I think, Greg's a good character. The dad? Great dad. Phenomenal dad. Anyway, the point that I'm trying to get at here is, okay, making friends with people and being friendly is masculine, unironically. You know what's super easy? For a time, isolating yourself, making no friends, trying to take the weight of the world upon your own shoulders and ending up miserable, okay? That's easy until it's not. It starts being difficult and very unrewarding, okay? But being able to make friends, being open and forthcoming and cognizant of your emotional limitations and your range of emotional experiences, I think that is significantly more rewarding, and I don't think that's unmasculine at all. I think that's great, I think that's phenomenal, and I think people should do that, and it's something that I try to do. Not perfect, but I think I try to do it. I think other people should try it too. So let's all try, we'll do our best, and if we're all a little bit more forthcoming, oh God, you know what so many of us need in our lives? Don't we just want that one new friend? We all joke about the manic pixie dream girl, but it doesn't have to be this weird gendered thing. Like, the idea of going out and just having somebody be kind and interesting. Those are the only two things that a person needs to be, by the way, kind and interesting. Those are the only two valid, viable, important characteristics, the fundamental characteristics upon which everything else is built, kind and interesting. You meet somebody like that, and you talk with them for a while, and it's fun, and it's not compelled, and then you leave, but then you talk again in the future, and the friendship is sincere, and there's no weird mutual obligation, it's just something that develops naturally. Everybody is capable of doing that. This isn't some magical, weird anime-only thing. It's a real thing humans can do to each other, with each other, at will. Takes a little practice, but we can do it. And I think we should all do it. Anime is real. Yeah, but everyone is boring as shit. Wrong. People are taught to be boring. People are taught to be boring because they're taught nobody wants them, nobody has time for them, nobody cares about the shit they have to say, and the mundanity of late-stage capitalism grinds them down until they have no interest in engaging with the people they meet out in the world. You think like a supermarket cashier is going to put energy into an interaction with you when they have to interact with 1,000 dipshits a day? No. There are ways we can make it more possible for us to develop these social relations. So we should do that. Socialism, etc., etc. But we should do that, okay? But in the meantime, capitalism may be an impediment. It is not a fucking force field. We can do it. How can we do this during a pandemic? The pandemic does make things difficult. I admit, it's still possible online to develop good, honest, open relationships, but I think that in-person relationships are generally more fulfilling, or at least they have the capacity to be more fulfilling. But yeah, there are things you can do. But this segment isn't about that. This segment is about how we should do that. And I believe that. And I'm glad I talked about this, because the last time I talked about this, my average concurrent viewership was literally 1/10 of what we have right now. So thank you. Okay, let's look at the press conference. Okay.